Hey everyone, my name is John and welcome back to our third video in our series about stress and how to reduce it. In our previous episodes we talked about why stress can be helpful and how to use it to our advantage versus sometimes how it become overwhelming and very hurtful to ourselves and our health in general. We also talked about making some lists to try to figure out what was actually causing our stress, and today we're going to start talking about some different ways to reduce stress. And specifically speaking about two kind of groupings of stress, one being the controllable stresses versus things that are kind of outside of our control and are more in line with our perception and how we handle the situation at hand. So when it comes to controllable stress, these are things that we maybe perceive onto ourselves or that we literally just have control of. So say, for example, you are one who gets stressed about traveling or even going on vacation. I used this example in the past where it's supposed to be something that's fun and relaxing, yet the preparation for it and everything surrounding it until we actually get there can be quite stressful. And a lot of these different types of stresses, the root cause, and if we started to talk about getting down to that root cause last week. Once we can find out where that cause is, we can start to break it down and try to find solutions to those parts. So back to the vacation example. What if your fear is that you might forget something or you're just uneasy traveling? If you can figure out where that fear is, maybe you don't like to fly. Maybe we can start to figure out how we can break that down and try to mitigate or even remove some of those stresses. So let's say, for example, you're afraid you're going to forget something. Making a packing list or a to-do list to make sure you don't forget something along the way can help to essentially remove that entire stress from the situation. If you have that checklist, you can go through and you've taken plenty of time ahead of your vacation day to write that list out and go through it. Then you'll know it's complete and you're ready to go. Maybe if you're afraid of flying, maybe you can educate yourself better on the process. Maybe you're unsure about going through security, maybe those type of things. So if you learn more about the process of going through it, maybe that can also help reduce your stress some. Another example is maybe you get stressed because you're late going places, specifically every morning going to work, and not being punctual can really bother some people. So maybe what you need to do is first off start the night before. Maybe there's things that you would normally do in the morning that you could do ahead of time. In doing those things ahead of time, that's less to do in the morning. Then make sure you get enough sleep so that you wake up on time, and you're essentially just shifting your schedule around so that when it comes to that morning routine, there's less to worry about, less things to go wrong, and helps reduce the chances of you actually being late. Hopefully after that process and routine works in, you find yourself late less often, and hopefully that reduces your stress. So these are a couple things that are within our control that we can help take actions to improve or reduce the chances of the events occurring and thus causing the stress. Now sometimes there's a second category which I like to consider the uncontrollable events, or the ones that are possibly difficult to prevent altogether. Some of these things could be like getting sick or injured. Even though we take proper precautions and things, accidents can happen. But there are some things we can do to help prevent or reduce the chances of those situations. And the idea is that by reducing that or knowing that the probability of those things from occurring is much smaller, maybe it just becomes less of a worry in the back of our mind than something that's right up front and in our face that's bothering us. So say you're driving, you can always follow the laws, signs, and defensive driving and be more aware of what's going on around you. Just following the speed limit and certain things can help remove or reduce your chances. It probably won't eliminate them, but if we can reduce it and you can maintain some control of a situation that isn't fully controllable, hopefully that helps you feel a little bit better. And of course, there's always the sad part about losing a loved one. These situations are outside of our control, and this is where your perception of the situation, it's definitely a sad time, but how you handle the situation, you can celebrate life as opposed to just dwelling on someone who's no longer with us, to hopefully help you get through that. I know I've dealt with some of these situations in the past, and I've gone through some very serious illnesses in my family, and it's easier for me to talk about them now, but it was almost impossible during the situation of occurring. And having a strong network of family and friends and support can definitely be a help in those situations. So I hope you found these tips helpful, and tomorrow we're going to dive into more of these remedies or ways to help for the uncontrollable. How to try to reduce our overall stress and relax a little bit more, because even though we've tried to reduce what's bothering us and causing this stress, there's still going to be a lot of things in this world around us that are causing the stress. And since we can't make that all go away, sometimes we need to figure out how to handle that stress better so that it doesn't have that strong reaction internally to our body and thus causing that unhealthy situation. So again, my name is John. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed what you heard, don't forget to subscribe. I try to post on a weekly basis to try and help everyone where I can. Thanks again for watching, and have a great